The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. It backs global trade, commodity pricing, and the balance sheets of central banks on every continent. And since the year 2000, it has quietly lost nearly half its purchasing power. Today, I want to walk you through exactly how that happened, what it means for anyone holding dollar-denominated assets, and why this story is far from over. This is the kind of analysis that drives our Patreon series, but the numbers today are yours, free, so you can see it clearly for yourself. Let's be precise about what we mean by purchasing power loss. We are not talking about the dollar collapsing against other currencies, though it has weakened significantly against the franc and other hard currencies over this period. We are talking about domestic inflation, the cumulative rise in prices that determines what a given number of dollars can actually buy inside the United States. Since January 2000, cumulative US CPI inflation has run approximately 90%. That is not 90% per year, that is 90% compounded over 25 years. Which means that $100 in 2000 buys what roughly $55 buys today. The dollars are the same. The purchasing power behind them is not. To understand why, you need to follow the money, specifically the money supply. In January 2000, the US M2 money supply, the broad measure of dollars in circulation, stood at approximately $4.6 trillion. By early 2025, that figure exceeds $21 trillion. The dollar supply has grown at more than 4.5 times in 25 years, while the underlying economy, the goods and services those dollars chase, has grown by roughly 2 to 2.5 times. When money grows faster than the things it buys, prices rise. That's inflation. This is not economic theory. It is arithmetic. The acceleration points matter. The financial crisis of 2008 triggered the first major expansion. The Fed's balance sheet went from approximately $900 billion to over $4 trillion between 2008 and 2015. The pandemic response of 2020 dwarfed even that. Over $3 trillion was injected into the financial system within a matter of weeks, pushing M2 up by nearly 40% in 2 years. The inflation surge of 2021 and 2022, the worst in 40 years, was not an accident. It was the delayed consequence of that monetary expansion arriving in the real economy. Now compare the dollar's performance against the Swiss franc over this period. In January 2000, one US dollar bought approximately 1.60 Swiss francs. By 2025, one US dollar buys approximately 0.88 Swiss francs. That is a depreciation of roughly 45% in currency terms alone, separate from domestic inflation. An American holding dollar savings has faced a double erosion, inflation at home and depreciation abroad. For anyone with international exposure, assets in Swiss francs, real estate in Europe, business dealings across currencies, this dollar depreciation is not academic. It is a direct reduction in the international purchasing power of every dollar-denominated asset on your balance sheet. The euro tells a similar but slightly less dramatic story. The euro was introduced at approximately 1.07 per euro in 1999. It peaked at 1.60 in 2008, then weakened through the European debt crisis, the ECB's negative rate policy, and the energy crisis following 2022. Today it trades around 1.05 to 1.19, close to where it started, but with 25 years of cumulative Eurozone inflation embedded in the purchasing power behind it. In real terms, euro holders lost approximately 30% of their domestic purchasing power since 2000. Against the Swiss franc, the euro's decline has been more pronounced. In 2000, 1 euro bought approximately 1.58 francs. Today it buys approximately 0.93 francs, a depreciation of over 40% in currency terms. The Eurozone, for all its economic size and institutional architecture, has consistently underperformed Switzerland on monetary stability. What do these numbers mean in practice? If you held $300,000 in a US savings account from 2000 to 2025, you now have approximately $330,000 nominally, let's assume modest interest. But in real purchasing power, that $330,000 buys what roughly $175,000 bought in 2000. You thought you were saving. You were losing just slowly enough to not notice. If today's numbers made you rethink your dollar or euro exposure, The full series builds the complete framework for what to do about it. Follow this series and join us on Patreon for full in-depth learning on how currencies behave, how to position across them intelligently, and how to protect your purchasing power no matter which direction monetary policy goes next. Link below.